All right, everybody. Welcome back to Making Picks. My name is Nathan. I'm here with my awesome hosts, Mark Salino, Will, Biased Opinions. What's going on, guys? How was your week?
I'm doing
It's
kind of
been
like
good so
great
far.
here. I mean, it's definitely kind of good, especially when hey, the Giants didn't lose yet, so we're good.
Yes. Yeah. How Will?
You
How
know,
are you
yeah.
doing with Chris McCaffrey going down last night? That was
Man,
you
listen,
kind of
listen. I was all in on him again. I put that video out. I felt very, very good about it. I think, and listen, even if you saw what the production that Chuba had coming in for him, I think he ran for over 50 yards. I think that CMC would have definitely had double that amount, so he would have definitely cleared all those player props that I put in. But listen, injuries happen. They always have happened. They always will happen. So if I ever miss on a player prop because of the injury, I'm not going to be upset at all. As opposed to like a player just not hitting the player prop and being able to play the whole game, right? So it's part of the game. I understand. We just got to move forward. But if anybody did tail with the Sam Darnold, he did do his thing. He ended up throwing for 300 yards. His passing yards total was at listed at 258 and a half. So we did well there. So listen, I got a short memory. And like I said, I'll be looking forward to waking up on Sunday and hitting some more player props.
yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. This is where I kind of burned myself a little bit. So I've been getting into this whole like Connecticut next year or next month starts being the sports books and legalized sports gambling. And so like I've been itching for it. And so yesterday I was on, contacted you, Will, and we were talking through DFS and like FanDuel and everything. I deposited some money and then I went pretty hard on last night's game. And my number one guy was McCaffrey. So just wrecked my lineups. It was bad. But I did kind of hedge with Sunday night. I talked with my buddy Johnny the Greek, and he got me into some super flex, three to hundreds on FanDuel. So hopefully that comes in, and then I can make that money back, and then I don't have to burn FanDuel down for losing all that money.
No, that's great. If you don't mind, if you can kind of expand upon that like a little bit here. So obviously, Connecticut just kind of opened up. You chose FanDuel for whatever reason that is, and I'm sure it's kind of great. How was the experience? Was it easy, seamless? Any kind of problems from I guess an end user experience that's kind of worth pointing out here? Or now that the
Mhm.
state is opened, and I don't necessarily mean to exclude anybody who's listening from outside of the state of Connecticut, but just walk us through because I'm obviously in New York here. I still can't do any of this stuff. I'm just kind of
Mm.
curious to see how was the experience on your end.
So, FanDuel DraftKings have been around in Connecticut since they launched. So, whatever, 5 years ago.
Correct. Yeah.
So I've had those accounts. I think my DraftKings account lapsed because I never deposited any money and I've never really played in it. I've always been, pulled towards FanDuel for whatever reason. And so they haven't opened up the second half of FanDuel. So the sports book section. All it is right now is just the regular DFS, which, I've played many times over the past 5 years. And usually if I win, I win like $1 back from like 25. And if I don't win, I usually have dropped like $50. And, so it's like I do it and then I don't do it again for a while. So this was me giving it a shot back. But what's it, like 2 weeks from now, the October 1st, they're supposed to open up the sports book side of things. So I'm looking at, probably using FanDuel for that, but also Bet River
No,
is
so I was
the
going to say, so the
other
bets that
app.
you just
Yeah.
placed, you didn't actually do that your own. You actually did it either through Will or through Johnny. Like
No, I
how
did it my own.
you did it on your own, and you did it through FanDuel.
Yeah.
So,
So
but
the
that whole
regular
process,
DFS has been open for 5 years.
I thought you were talking about you just made a couple prop bets.
No, no, I will be
Oh,
making prop bets.
so what you were talking
This is,
about, you just played a couple of FanDuel games, like traditional DFS
Mhm.
games.
yeah,
Oh,
traditional.
I thought you were making, but my fault. I thought you were actually making some bets. I was like, wow, that was pretty quick that they got everything running. I know the announcement kind of
Mm.
came up fairly recently. I'm very curious to see how that whole thing kind of shakes out and how easy it is for people to potentially do it online or in person. I know in Stanford,
Yeah,
Connecticut, and you can kind of correct me if I'm wrong here. I know that Bobby Valentine's place got a license. I'm not sure if I'm talking out of my butt, or I could have sworn
Yeah.
that I got that from a
In
reliable
Stanford, yeah.
store. Yeah.
Bobby
So that
V's.
was one place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
they're getting on location sportsbook
Correct.
license, and then Winner's Circle
Yeah.
throughout Connecticut is getting the other license. So there's like 15 locations. I've got one um on the other side of downtown from me. So like I could walk over there. The only problem is it's like, so my neighborhood, my town has been kind of in a state of revitalization, but this is the one area of town where it's like it's not. So I kind of wish it was somewhere else. Like I was really hoping they were going to be like, yeah, we're going to do it, but we're going to move it. Because the plaza it's at is just really sketchy and I'm not like a fan of it. So but yeah, for in person, it's going to be all over the place. And then obviously you can go to Mohegan Sun, Foxwoods to do bets as well because it's all run through them.
So you
And
can place bets at the Indian reservations, which is
oh
great.
yeah,
Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun.
they're the ones that pretty much screwed us though because
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
defined
Yeah,
it to
the same
different.
thing.
only
We could
their
do a
partners.
whole show on that.
Yeah,
Well, I'm not gonna let all the politicians locally in the state of Connecticut off the hook that easily. I know that the tribal reservations, wanted whatever the hell they kind of wanted, which kind of delayed things
yeah.
for years. But it's good to see. I didn't actually realize that this quickly the casinos were accepting sports wagers and prop bets in person.
Yeah, so I know that
That's
by
confirmed, or are we
next
guessing?
show. Oh,
By
well,
next,
yeah, no, it's confirmed. Everything's run through Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods. Like this only happened because they approved it, and they're going to have locations. Just they have you can go there and run the what is it, the horses, the
yeah,
dogs.
I
Like
know,
you can
but
do,
that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I know that they can do it and they will be doing it,
they
but
will
as
be
of
doing
right
it.
now, as we speak right now, can you
Can't
do it?
do
Can
it.
I? Okay, all right, okay,
Can't do
all
it.
right. So that's
Next week,
that's the
I will
point that
be
I was
able to
making, because
report
that
back.
was, yeah, I was going to say, that was pretty quick because they just announced this thing. If there's some of these on-site locations that are already accepting wages, whether it's in person or online,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Well, I will
fast
tell
from
you.
when they actually made that announcement.
I will tell you this. It is very simple. I mean, once that goes live in Connecticut, you guys are gonna love it because it's a pretty much a one login process. Now it is two different apps, but let's say you're on your desktop or you're on your iPad or whatever, you can go ahead and log in and then just switch from there from the app. So it's pretty simple. And then also, if you deposit money on one end, you may have them. You're gonna have those funds on the other end as well. So it's pretty straightforward. But I'd be more than happy to walk you guys through it, and I'm looking forward to doing some tutorials on that just to get people
Mhm.
up and running because it is kind of not hard to go through, but people just don't know the ins and outs of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say that so by next week I should be able to report back, and it's going to be online first and then in person um
Interesting.
in mid-October because they're getting the infrastructure and all the permits like done. But this was actually approved back in July. The law went through in July, early July, and it's taken them this long to get everything together and run through the federal government because the politicians at the state level they were running really slowly. Like I'm pretty sure like all these applications could have gone through to the federal level back at by the end of July, but they waited close to like September, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. I thought that this would have been ready to go by the first week of football. That's when people want to start betting. So you're losing out on a whole month worth of betting and possibly lost interest from like first time betters that would want to come in and start betting on football. So it's I don't know. I'm not too happy with it, but I guess I'm appeased that I can do a little bit of it at least. So but with that, we should probably get to what the show's about. And Mark, why don't you run through real quick what we're going to talk about today, as well as what Statement Games is?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with what Statement Games is. It's obviously accessible at StatementGames.com. There's also apps that complement the www.statementgames.com website. We're just a game. We're a free-to-play game. We got a little bit of a different twist on fantasy sports. You'll get a full demo of how we're kind of going to play in it right now. But look, come in, play with us here, and if you compete at a high level, you do have an opportunity to win some tokens or coins that can be exchanged at any time. These coins, they don't disappear. They're not going to vanish. But at any time, you can actually exchange them for cash gift cards or cash rewards of your choice. And we're going to be talking about the, as usual, Sunday night football game. Looks like we got a good one. Green Bay Packers versus San Francisco 49ers. And the incentive for this week is a Aaron Rodgers, I believe it's 2005 Aaron Rodgers rookie card. Am I sharing my screen?
Here we are.
Here we go. There we go. So we're going to be looking to give away this card right now. You can actually see that it's up for sale right now on eBay for about $250 plus whatever shipping cost that you come across here. It is a 2005 Topps card number 431 and a mint condition from PSA, rated at a number 9. And in order to win this card, what you need to do is, first and foremost, you have to go 10 for 10 with your Green Bay Packers versus San Francisco 49ers picks on StatementGames.com. You also have to be subscribing to this channel. And as a subscriber to this channel and as you're watching this video, you have to drop a comment in the comment section below. The comment that you need to drop is what your Statement Games username is and who your number 10 pick is as well. And then also keep in mind that you can play these games as many times as you want. But if you want to be participating for this specific prize, we're only accepting your first entry. So, for example, if we're running 30 or 40 tournaments for this particular game, you can potentially play in all of them. However, it's only going to be your first contest entry that we accept. And keep in mind that all of our games or contests are run like a traditional fantasy football league. There's only anywhere between 8 to 12 people that actually join. But once that contest fills up, it will come off the board and a new one will go ahead and populate. So just follow those simple rules and procedures, and you're good.
This is another game, guys. I tell you what, this is another primetime game that, and we'll jump into it, obviously. But it's just another game that I just see a lot of potential here. So ready to get started. How did we end up last week though? How did we do last week?
It's funny you should ask. So while we kind of going to review what took place last week, because obviously we're doing this on a weekly basis here. Speaking of myself, I went 4 for 2 last week. I still haven't gotten a pick wrong when it actually comes to the prop picks. I can use a little bit of work when it actually comes to picking games in the traditional weekly sense here. But, 4 overall, 6 picks in total, 4 right, 2 wrong. My total for the year is 8 and 4. Will, with a nice kind of bounce back week for himself as well, also went 4 and 2. Same thing. So 3-0 with your prop picks. So you did kind of really well with the Chiefs and Baltimore Ravens kind of game here. Still, like me, still need a little work when it comes to the other with the other aspect of kind of making picks. Okay. But after a blazing kind of a hot start, and for somebody who was higher than a pig on shit,
cooled off.
We have Nate Dogg kind of over here, who went 1 for 5.
Wow!
A goose egg.
Nate, no. Where did Nate go? Nate disappeared.
And cost this tournament. In the Ravens and Kansas City game, I believe we tied for second. I think there was 3 people who were tied for second here, but still, we'll take the tie. So there was only one person that beat us in that particular tournament, and it's all because of Nate. I mean, if you would have just gotten one pick right here, we probably would have won the whole fucking thing. But of course, he goes 0 for 3 with his picks, and 1 for 3 with his traditional pick'em picks as well. Still doing good though, despite the 1 and 5 week that he had last week here. For the year overall, he is 6 and 5. So still got a winning record.
So
You're one shy of kind of like close to being 500, but after 2 weeks here, it looks like the cream is really starting to rise to the top.
Yeah. So listen, we could find you guys could find Nathan on at Nachi or at Anchor because he's definitely holding us down. And we'll definitely
Hashtag anchor.
yeah, at Anchor. So got a couple of names there to look them up. But like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So I wasn't down
Correct.
after the first couple of weeks, and now we're starting to see
Correct.
where the where the sharpness is. So I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have that bounce back. It was fun while it lasted. Giving you guys, the business for there for a couple weeks, and it is not beyond the realm of possibility that I could come back. So we'll see how this goes, and I fully expect that when I come out on top, that I'll give it right back to you guys. It's fine. But so like with that, let's get into making picks. So here we are. What do you guys see in this game? How do you foresee the Green Bay San Francisco storyline to go? And for those out there, you can play along with us. We're in contest 1 of the Sunday night game, sponsored by the NFL Fan Group.
And that's of course from our partners at Sports Host as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually chat and interact with a lot of people once you make your picks, and while the game is kind of played with other like-minded fans and things like that. You can see right now, just from a business perspective, we've did a lot of updates. There was a lot of things that were pushed into our production environment last week. So for the time being, just pretend that kind of like in a white box, and how like the screen isn't necessarily automatically stretching down here. Not that I'm calling out my own mistakes, but still a little bit of a bug that needs to kind of be addressed here. But in no way, shape, or form is it preventing people from accessing StatementGames.com, joining contests, making picks, saving picks, and playing the game.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what do you think? Packers defense isn't looking so hot. I mean, even against Detroit, that wasn't so good.
Man, Jared Goff. I mean, that offense came out. They drove down the field, got a touchdown. I thought that it was going to be a high scoring game. They got some things right. They went into the locker room during the half and got some things right, because they only gave up about like 60 yards total yards on the offense in the third quarter, going into the fourth. So they definitely got some things right. But we'll see, because San Fran's been doing pretty well the last couple of weeks to start the season. So I think it's going to be a different game, and I think that the defense is going to be struggling this weekend.
Yeah. What do you think, Mark?
I'm completely down on the Packers. I don't actually kind of buy it. I was taking a look at a couple of different things before. I can actually see that in the one sports book that I was looking at, probably about like 85% of the money line picks are coming like on the Packers. I completely feel that this is just not going to be a team that resembles kind of like last year. I think they're walking into a buzzsaw kind of like with San Francisco. So I got a couple of different things in mind, but I'm going to be on the 49ers this week. I'm just not a buyer in the Packers right now.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's start off with those picks. Mark, you take the first one, and then we'll snake through this.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, for a second week in a row here, Philadelphia basically screws me in terms of making picks, but I guess a different story for a different day here. But when you take a look at that Eagles-49ers game here, and taking a look at how basically Goff went toe-to-toe with Green Bay for a majority of the game, it wasn't towards the tail end of the game that a couple of turnovers and things like that really swung the momentum and the outcome of that game here. But I'm not impressed with the Green Bay Packers secondary at all. I'm also looking at a situation where Kittle's had 4 receptions for 19 yards last week against the Eagles. So I strongly feel that they're going to want to get him involved in the game as early and often as possible. So in terms of my first pick, I'm going to lock in at Kittle's over 60.5 receiving yards, and just for fun and to put a little bit more of a emphasis or stress on you guys here. Why don't you make that pick? But why don't you drop that down to the number 9 slot?
Okay.
and let one of you guys kind of battle it out on how the all right, I guess we'll fix that. Let's just I just leave it kind of as it is. That's obviously something that as we go through this, I need to fix. But I know from within the app when I was playing around with things over here, and just so that the listening audience knows, just in case if you're listening for the first time, you do have the ability to rank these picks in order of confidence. In fact, the whole game is based on making your picks in order of confidence. So obviously, your 10 is going to be your most confident pick. Number 1 is your least confident pick. As the game plays out, if your number 10 pick becomes correct, you get 10 points. Hypothetically speaking, if 9 through 1 are incorrect, well, now you just have a total of 10 points. Maybe we'll show you in a couple of minutes here, but you'll be playing in a league of about 12 people, and the person with the most points from correct picks wins.
Gotcha. All right, Will, what do you got for me?
Well, listen, Aaron Rodgers didn't have the game that I thought he was going to have against Detroit. So I looked for him. There was also some missed opportunities there by scouting towards the end, and he could have definitely hit his over last game. I like the position that he's in this game. So give me Aaron Rodgers over 277.5 passing yards.
All right. Okay. Good stuff. Let's see. This game, I feel that with that defense, San Francisco has a shot at getting ahead or keeping this game, going. And so I think with that, Aaron Rodgers is going to need to pass, and I think he's going to need to score. And with that defense being the way it is, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have to get at least 3 touchdowns to stay in this game. So I like him on the over for the 2.5 touchdowns. And then for my second pick, okay. So this one's, I always like that half a point line for a running back for touchdowns. And last week, I think that bit me with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but with this, it's any San Francisco running back to get over a half a touchdown. So any one of them punching it in, I think, and they like to utilize their running backs, and especially in the red zone. I'm going to take that San Francisco running backs over half a touchdown. Back to you, Will.
Well, listen, Aaron Jones had 4 touchdowns. This line right here seems a little too low at 1.5. So give me Aaron Jones over 1.5 touchdowns.
Nice. Mark, back to you for 2.
Aaron Jones. Let me just fill out this card. You said over 1.5 TDs? Is that what you
sir.
said?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep. Over 1.5.
All right, I'm gonna kind of keep this simple here. Hope this doesn't necessarily mix you guys up here. I just think Green Bay is outclassed here. I think that front 7 of San Francisco is going to pose fits on Green Bay all day. I don't like giving a half of a point to Aaron Rodgers, but in this particular case, I'm going to give it anyway. So just go to the game category and go ahead and lock in the San Francisco 49ers will win by over 3.5 points. And I also feel that, look, first game at home for San Francisco. This is a run first team. I think this whole Jimmy Garoppolo quarterback thing has been put to bed here. I think he will be the guy moving forward, barring any type of dramatic injury, which we know is going to take place with Garoppolo anyway. But which said, run first team. Stout defense, giving Green Bay fits pretty much all day long here. Total points under 50.5.
All righty. Okay. Back to you, Will.
I feel like we haven't given the kickers enough love on this show. So give me a Mason Crosby over 1.5 field goals.
All righty. Well, just like needing to give the kickers some love, I also always need to give some defensive love. Last week I should have went with the 1.5 turnovers because that was the name of the game, and I instead went with the sacks. So I think that I'm going to I'm going to flip on this one, and I'm going to take the 49ers for the turnovers because I think that Rodgers will he's not been as accurate as he has been in the past. He's been throwing some errant balls that I believe he's had at least a pick so far in that New Orleans game, he was looking pretty god awful. So I think that this could turn into the same thing where 49ers could capitalize with their defense and get a couple turnovers, whether it's with a fumble or an interception. But with that, we're going to leave that last pick for off air so that we have some competitive advantage and wrap up the show. We've got our lineup there set, and here we go. All right. So if you are in contest 1 in the Sunday night game on StatementGames.com or in the app, just know that, if you're playing against SG Live, you're playing against the three of us, myself, Anchor, Will, and Mark Salino. And if you happen to go 5 for 5
That's
and
great.
you've dropped your name,
I love it.
screen name in the comments, Mark had a special offer for you, so make sure take advantage of that. And of course, make sure you're following at Statement Games on all social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Statement Games Inc., as well as play StatementGames.com or on the app found in Google Play or Apple Store. Great having you guys on today, and I believe that we've got a bonus episode coming up where we're going to do the pick 'em for the week. So make sure you guys stay tuned, come back for that, and as always, great being on the show with you guys.
See you soon.